Jeremy Corbyn fired off a series of hard-hitting failures in the NHS, accusing Theresa May of recklessly putting the NHS at risk. The Labour leader told the House of Commons that the failure to meet waiting time targets was endangering lives. At the last PMQs ahead of the Christmas recess, the Labour leader used all 5 of his questions to hit out at the government's record on the health service. The Labour leader began his passionate performance by asking Theresa May a simple question: has the NHS got the resources it needs this winter to deal with this crisis? But the Prime Minister gave only a very weak response, saying, the health service has prepared more extensively for this winter than ever before. Mr. Corbyn then launched into a string of failures within the health service. He said last week 12,000 patients were kept in the back of an ambulance on arrival at hospitals because there was no room at the A&E. He also pointed out that A&E waiting time targets haven't been met for 2.5 years and cancer treatment targets haven't been met for 2 years. Our A&E departments are bursting at the seams because the government failed to guarantee that people can get a GP appointment when they need one, he said. These delays risk lives, Corbyn insisted. And he asked the PM whether the NHS had the funding it needed. A confident Prime Minister hit back, saying the honourable gentleman knows full well NHS funding is at record levels. But Corbyn retaliated, pointing out that the funding levels are nowhere near the figure the head of the NHS asked for. He said, Sir Simon Stevens did say the NHS needs £4 billion next year just to stand still, and the reality is the government has given Mr. Stevens less than half than what he asked for. He asked the PM to confirm all targets will be met in 2018. Theresa May hit back at Mr. Corbyn by falling back on the situation in the NHS in Labour-run Wales. She pointed out that in Wales, on cancer care the standard was last met in 2008. But Mr. Corbyn would not be cowed, saying, the Welsh government relies on a block grant from England that has been cut by 5%. Despite that, in Wales, 85.5% of cancer patients start treatment within 62 days. Higher than in England. May says Corbyn knows NHS funding is at record levels, adding that time and again the honourable gentleman comes to the House and complains about what's happening in the health service. She says more people are getting the treatment they need, and 6,500 more people are alive if we hadn't improved our cancer care. Corbyn said, the Prime Minister today has shown how out of touch she is. The truth is our NHS is being recklessly put at risk by her government.